Question 15, 25 workers can paint 5 houses in 10 days. How many days are needed for 20 workers to paint 2 houses? Okay, this is a question on rate. And how do we identify this type of rate question? There's usually 3 variables presented in a question. Okay, so for this question, it'll be the number of workers, the amount of work done, which is the number of houses, and the time taken, which is the number of days. So what we want to do is to put them into 3 columns first. So we have 25 workers, 5 houses, and 10 days. Now, there are 2 rules to remember when we're doing this type of question. The first rule is there are 3 variables, right? Always only change just 2. Okay, then the third variable, we want to keep it constant. So avoid trying to change all 3 variables at once. It's going to be very confusing. Okay, so just decide on which 2 you're going to work on. The second thing to take note of is that students should avoid memorizing whether they should times when it's between workers and houses, like both times, or is it 1 times 1 divide? No, you should actually apply some logic to the context of the question. So example, if you're changing workers and days, then if the number of days increase, then the number of workers required will be lesser. Okay, if you need another example, if you need to paint fewer houses, then the time taken, the number of days will be lesser. Okay, so let's look at the first step that we want to take. So there can be many variations of the solution. Okay, as long as you follow these 2 rules, you should be able to get the same answer at the end. So first, I will choose what do I want to keep constant, what do I want to change. Okay, so always take note of what you're trying to work towards. So in this case, it's 20 workers and 2 houses. Okay, so let's say I want to work towards 2 houses first. So let's change the number of houses and also change you can change the number of days. You can also choose to change the number of workers. Okay, so let's say I decide to make number of days the same. Now, for 5 houses, I can't get 2 houses straight away. I need to find 1 house first. So to find 1 house, I'll divide by 5, right? So the amount of work to be done is actually lesser. So what can we say about the number of workers needed? So if you have lesser houses to paint, then the number of workers required will be lesser as well. So if you're dividing by 5, workers, you also divide by 5. Okay, if you need lesser, you divide. If you need more, you times. So this 5 will actually follow this 5 here. So if this is a 4, then the other number will be a 4. Okay, so now let's go on to the next line. Remember, we were trying to work towards 2 houses, right? So the next step is definitely 2 houses. Okay, the next step is definitely 2 houses. And let's keep the number of days the same again. So I have 10 days. Number of houses to make it 2, I have to times 2, right? So this time, same logic. If you have more houses to paint, then the number of workers required to do that amount of work will actually increase, right? So increase means times, so I will times 2 for this step. Now I have 10 workers, 2 houses, 10 days. I'm working towards 2 houses, right? So I have already done that. Let's keep the number of houses the same. The other thing I need to look at is 20 workers. Okay, keep the houses the same, 2 houses. So I know I'm changing workers and days, right? So decide on how many workers you want. You want 20 workers, so this is times 2. So try to understand the context of the question. If you have more workers, what can you say about the time taken to do the same amount of work? You have more people to share the work, so the time taken will be lesser, right? So instead of times, it will be divide. because lesser. So you divide. You divide by 2. So answer is 5 days. Okay, check if that's what you want. We have 20 workers. You want 20 workers? Yes, we have. 2 houses? Yes, we have. Okay, so the final answer will be 5 days.